Today we're going to look at how to do graded exercise activity 1, 5.5. Okay, so if I click on this, I can download the exercise that I'm going to turn in. So I'm going to pull it up. It says for your first activity, you'll take a closer look at the rigid body dynamics and how you can manipulate your object's reaction so they mimic the physics of the real world. Open the car game in Unity. So you know what that is. If you open up Unity, that's your standard assets example project. So open it up. So what are we doing here? Try really big numbers or really small numbers to test the range of behavior of on the boxes or the car you have in the game. Find at least 2 sets of values that create a reaction you can use in your game. So in the exercise, what we've done, let me go back to the exercise. .0.1. Come down the page. Okay, we've opened up our example project, right? And then we manipulated the car in various ways. We did some transform. We looked at the various assets. We checked out the various views on the car and the boxes. And then we did some things to the car. We ran along the racetrack and we did some various transforms and stuff like that. And then we practiced collision events with the boxes, and we learned how to manipulate and move around. So with this in mind about what we've done in this exercise 5.01, we're going to look at what we're doing here. So we're going to play with the scene, and we're going to talk about what values you changed, what effects you saw. Okay, now you should go outside of the realm of what you've already done in this exercise. Okay, so you've changed the value of a couple of the boxes to 1,000. Change it to 500. You know, do something else. You got all kinds of things to play with on this thing. So let's look at this. Okay, so here's the car. And I can come up here more specifically to the car. And this tells you everything that you can see in the scene. And this here will tell you everything you can see on the level if you pull this up. But we're going to pull out a little bit. Actually, what we can do is we can take the scroll of your mouse and come on out if you'd like. And we can zero out of the scene a little bit. Or one thing you can do is you can go to the game view here, and use your arrow keys and drive the car. I'm going to click here. kinds of things in my scene now. I can see boxes over here, right? So I'm going to come back to the scene view. I don't see my car anymore, do I? So what I need to do is to zoom on out. Maybe take a turn to the right or the left. See, here's the X and Y and Z axis. The Y axis is up and down. Your X axis is this way. And your Z axis is your angle this way. So I can click on the car. And I'm going to click F to focus on the car. So there we go. The car is right here. Okay. So I'm going to double click on the car. And I'll once again zoom in on this. Well, there is a car. Using my roller on my car, my mouse here, I zoom in on the car. Okay. Now, there's plenty of things I can do. So here's my inspector view. See, it says inspector up here. I can transform my car. Okay, I can change my Y to, let's change it to 30. What does that do? That just turns it around a little bit. And I can bring it back to 0. I can take my rotation on my X to 20. What does that do? That puts it heads it into the pavement, doesn't it? I can put this to 0. So, you know, there's various things I can play with here that I can put in, that I can try my different dynamics on. Okay. I can scale up my body here, right? I can make it 5 times as big. There you go. It's a little bigger than the wheels, isn't it? We'll bring it back down. So you can try all kinds of things. You know, test out your car, your layers, your layout. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out the car. And I'm going to come out a little bit. Focus in on the car. Okay. So I clicked F and I double clicked it. I can take this and I can drag it back to the original position. This takes it up. This is the transform. This takes it this way. Okay? And that's how you'll move your boxes as well. There we go. So zoom in, make sure it's on the ground. Yeah, well, gravity will make it hit the ground if you play the game, I guess. Um, but you have all kinds of things to you can change. So I come on out. You find a set of boxes. I'm going to take the x-axis here. Focus in on this. Click the F to focus in on that box. Drag my focus down a little bit, see if I can find it. There it is. So now I'm going to change my X here and drag this group of boxes. And I'm going to drag the boxes in front of the car. And now I'm going to turn around my view so I can see it. Where it is. This is my car. Going through the car. There's a box right in front of it, so I want to drag the box closer. Whoa. So now my boxes are right in front of the car pretty much, but I can put this to the sideways. This is my car. See if I can't drag this in front. Ooh. Okay, let's zoom in. Okay, well, look at it from the side. See if I put it more in front of the car. Back to my game. Now I can run my car into it, so I just click my drive. Okay, so we can focus in another box pile. And we can zoom out from there and see where the box pile's at. Well, who knows where it's at? Where's this one at? Okay. Maybe this one's a little easier to transform. I click on the transform box. And I'm going to take its X value, place it in the track. Somebody goes around the track, he'll encounter this box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change some, I'm going to transform some of the properties of some of the cubes in here. So before we had them at rigid body of 35, so we'll change 1 to 500. We'll change 1 to 700. We'll change 1 to 0.4. Okay. And we'll change this one to 17. Okay, so this should maybe have a more interesting effect. So we'll see. This is not 1,000. This is half of 1,000. So let's see what this collision effect is when we go into the car. I'll just put it in the way. So when we run the racetrack, it'll be in the way. So let's run the racetrack. So we were able to push it a little bit, but it didn't move as before, did it? So we can put some stuff. The values had changed, okay? I changed one box to 500, 1 to 700. 1 to 17, and 1 to 0.03 or something like that, right? The effects that I saw, the boxes didn't have a crash effect. But they didn't fly around as much. Whatever you'd like. An explanation for based on mathematical or physics knowledge. Well, what did we learn in class? You know, Newton's law, right? You go back into the class. So what did Newton's law of motion tell us? Every object in a state of rest or a uniform motion tends to stay in that state of motion unless or rest unless an external force is applied. So we applied an external forces on those boxes, and the car kept on moving forward. It didn't slow down the car a little bit, but definitely affected the direction of those boxes, didn't them? Okay, so the boxes did not stay at rest when the car moved into them, according to Newton's law of motion. Okay, so you just write it in there. According to Newton's law of motion, an object stays at rest or in motion unless it is acted on by an outside force. Or something to that effect. Okay, so how did you how can you use these values or results in your game? Things explosion, ice, flight, altered gravity, anything at all. So I don't know. There's a dozen things you can write about. What would be the effect of driving your car on Mars? Um, how would um, how would you make an explosion happen? You could say they instead of running into a group of boxes, he runs into something that another car, and that would have an explosive effect because it has a gas engine or something like that. Different things you can build into there. So I can put up here. Um, I could I can construct various obstacles for my car to drive around or interact with. I can have a car react differently in icy conditions or snow. All kinds of things you can write about. Okay, so that's your assignment. I hope that's helpful.